Hello and welcome back to another video. The December ScrawlrBox has just dropped through the letterbox, and if you do not know what ScrawlrBox is, it is a monthly art subscription box. It is currently £18.95, free postage and packaging here in the UK, additional costs outside of the UK, and you get a bunch of mysterious art supplies. I won't run through everything that's in the box as usual, so you can just watch this and see what we get inside. So let's open this. It feels a little bit weighty. I also heard the clatter of pencils, so I'm hoping that's what is inside. Oh, I may have been absolutely wrong here. A lot of these supplies have come out of this packaging, so we'll just pop those inside. Take all of this outside the box and then we can have a little look. Okay, so let's put the Scrawlr zine to one side. We will look through that after we've looked through all the supplies. We have the featured artwork, which is lovely. I love the colours and the mishmash of art. Not my usual style, so this might push us out of our boundaries a little bit. Very nice. This is the featured artist. You can have a little read of that. Then we have the Scrawlr sticker, which is a segment of the artwork. Very nice, lovely vinyl sticker there. And let's have a look at what's in here. So our Scrawlr sweet for this month is a small pack of green apple Mentos. I don't think I've ever been a fan of Mentos, but maybe a flavoured Mento might be more my style. So I'll see how they taste very shortly. Now let's have a look. Okay, so I did hear the clatter of pencil, just one pencil. So the main thing in the box seems to be these. These are the Edding 5100 acrylic markers. So we have a black 901. A traffic yellow 905, the Teller magenta 909, and the opulent turquoise 934. I don't know what the numbers represent. I'm assuming it means something, but these are permanent acrylic markers. So it looks, let's open one of these up and have a look at the nib quickly. So it says these Edding acrylic markers are the medium nib size and come with a semi-opaque, quick drying water-based ink. Okay, so we've got a bullet nib, but a kind of thick bullet nib there. It says this is a medium nib size, so I wonder if the chisel nib might be a bigger size. They are water resistant, light fast, wear resistant and heat resistant with low odour, and have the ability to draw on a variety of surfaces, including the usual suspects. I won't go through them. So we've got a nice selection of 4 colours, the same 4 colours used in the artwork there that we just saw. So interesting. We've not had acrylic markers for a little while, but interesting. I've not seen these ones before, so I will look forward to trying those out. Next on the list is a Unipin Black Chisel Fine Liner 2.0. So we've had Unipin fine liners before. They're very, very standard, very nice fine liners, and this is a very small chisel nib there. Very nice. So we can get some nice thin, some thick lines, some calligraphy type line work there with that. So very nice. And this is water and fade proof pigment ink. Very good. The next is a Staedtler Norris Pencil HB. So this just reminds me of school when you used to get your usual Staedtler pencils and a nice HB. So just a standard pencil there, not too soft, not too hard, just a nice mid-range pencil. Very good. And then last but not least, we have the ScrawlrBox A5 pad, 250 GSM, white card, 10 sheets. So a nice smooth card, so perfect for these acrylic markers there. That will work very nice, and it's a really nice thickness actually, a good piece of card. So very, very nice. Okay, so some good supplies there. Kind of reverting back to paint markers, which seems to be something we get every few boxes here and there, but we'll see how they compare to the usual Uniposcas, etc. And then we'll have a quick flick through this Scrawlr zine. So we have the spread showing us all the supplies, very, very nice. Then a little bit more about the Scrawlr artist, Mr. Phil. Some Scrawlr tips and things to try, so I will, as usual, read those as we swatch the supplies. Then this is the Scrawlr gallery from 2 months prior to this month, with the Things with Wings Scrawlr challenge for the October ScrawlrBox. So this is when we had some, I think they were paint markers as well. So there you go. We've had paint markers 2 months ago. So not too much of a different thing, but they were kind of a pastel-y colour, which were very nice, and some lovely artwork here. I really like this concept of the paper aeroplane, and this little dragon's gorgeous here. Wonderful, very, very nice. And then the last thing in here is the Scrawlr Extra, which is the rise of digital art. So I wonder whether this was done digitally, and they've given us supplies to kind of mimic that. I'm not sure, because you can't actually see any kind of graininess or line work, as you can see that they've done this on here. I don't know if you can see that, but so this must be done digitally, which I'm not sure how I feel about that. I wonder. Anyway, we'll have a go. We'll see what it is. And then finally, let's have a look at the Scrawlr challenge, which is Chaos Confined. Okay, so we could go multiple routes with that. You can go, you know, your more stylized route, or you could go realism, but kind of make it as chaotic as you can. So that's an interesting challenge. I'm excited to try these. Let's get to swatching, and we'll read some of those Scrawlr tips whilst we swatch. Things to try in the Scrawlr zine are very, very similar to a lot of things to try that they've mentioned in zines prior to this. So I'm going to just run through the headings and maybe go in depth of a few of them. So first things first, activate. So you pump your markers to activate. It's very standard practice with an acrylic marker, and if you have been a patron of ScrawlrBox for quite a long time, you obviously know that. But if you are not, and these are the first times you're trying acrylic markers, then you have to shake them, pump down the nib, and allow the ink to come through. The second tip is creating a wash. These are water soluble pens. They're acrylic markers, but they're water soluble. So you can add water to create a wash. Obviously, the more water you add, the lighter the wash is. Very, very handy. Layering up, once the paint dries, it becomes permanent, so you can go back in with another layer. However, I will add a little caveat on that. The paper may not handle too many layers, so just be aware of that. Blending, I mean, you can blend with the nibs straight out of the pen, you can blend with a paintbrush and water, and you can dry brush with them as well, which gives a little bit more texture. You can mix new colours where you add them onto a palette, hence what I'm doing right now, and I will go into depth with that a little bit more. You can create texture. You can use different household scrap bits of rubbish or things like that. You can use a sponge, a toothbrush, anything that you'd usually use with watercolours you would use with these to create different textures and different outcomes with your pens. And that's kind of it. That's mainly all the tips that they give. So I won't go into anything further, but as I was swatching, as you saw, I did actually write down some things that I kind of observed while swatching these. So firstly, the pencil does show through the ink quite a lot if you are not careful. If you're not applying a thick enough coat, the pencil does show through, so just be aware of that. It's a hard pencil, it's not soft, it's harder to rub out. Just be aware to be a bit lighter if you're sketching. The colours do run together when they're wet. I know that sounds like a really obvious thing, but the paint markers don't dry as quick as you kind of want them to, and so just be aware if you're doing multiple colours and you want a clean, crisp look, you may not reach that if you're not patient enough. That's why I was a bit dubious when seeing that the featured artwork was actually digital, because you're never going to achieve those crisp lines with traditional art with these pens. And then again, along the same vein, let it dry before fine line inking, because your fine liner will not go over the water. It will start to dry up and stop working. I did experience that a little bit, and you've got to then wait for the ink to start running through again, so just be aware of that when you do it. So onto the artwork. Obviously the Scrawlr challenge is Chaos Confined. I really wanted to work to my strengths. I've realised that these Scrawlr challenges are not fun for me when I'm trying to do a different style. I want to do the style I'm used to and the style I'm confident with. So I want to start trying to change the challenges and kind of come up with concepts that work with my style and also meet the challenge with the supplies, because I think I will enjoy supplies a lot more if I'm doing that. So I thought of doing an animal, which is obviously my main strength. If you've watched me for a while, you know that I do animals quite a lot. And I thought I'd go with a little bit more meaning with my piece. So I thought I would do a monkey in a cage because, you know, monkeys are chaotic, they are mischievous, but also they are often caged up for viewing pleasure, and I thought it would be quite a moving piece to do. And I did use the tip of watering these downs and creating them into watercolours. So I did use a paintbrush. It's actually a Scrawlr paintbrush. I've received this in a previous box quite a while ago, and I just started to mix the colours. I mixed up a nice yellowy orange colour for the kind of accent tone. I watered down the black paint marker to create greys and started to increase the concentration of that black to deepen the colour and slowly work my way up in layers like you would with watercolours. So I effectively didn't use these as acrylic markers like you should. However, I did use them. I only incorporated this paintbrush as an additional supply in there. The pencil was very nice. Again, like I mentioned, it is a hard pencil, so it's a little bit more tricky to rub out. I actually used a putty eraser. I guess that's another supply I added in there just to kind of take the depth of the line, the harshness of the line work off before I started painting, because I knew I was going to be painted in layers, very light layers, and I didn't want that pencil to show through. So as you can see here, working up, mixing more colours, mixing up a green, so you can make a big amount of colours. If I had the time, I would have done one of those charts that I always do where I show all the mixed colours you can possibly get from all of these supplies, but I was able to achieve very, very different colours to the 4 pens that we received in the box, which I was really pleased with, and I really love the way this turned out. I think the paint markers worked well, and the paper really held up against the water, so I highly recommend trying this if you haven't already with these pens. But the pens are very, very nice. I think if watercolours didn't existed and this was the only way you could get this effect, I think paint markers are very, very good. And, you know, sometimes these might be easier to carry around in a pencil case or something like that. So very worth testing out supplies that are water soluble like this. And the beauty of these over watercolours is that it will be waterproof once dry. These will not reactivate like watercolours would, so very, very nice. And I'm really pleased with the way my piece worked out. I feel like I represented KS Confined very well, and the supplies were very, very nice. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. It was really fun to actually do and push myself in a slightly different, more meaningful direction. So this is just me adding in the shadows from the bars just to give it a bit more of a 3D appearance, and then that's the end of my piece. So thank you very much for watching. Very nice box. Hope you've enjoyed watching and my thoughts and opinions on the box, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.